Or like, how is it Friday again?
Yeah. I know, every week I'm like, jeepers.
I
And
know.
as usual, we are never short of material for our weekly podcast. Just so many.
Yeah, we've had to leave things out this week and mash stuff together because there's that much. I literally look through my LinkedIn messages to Felice going, oh, it's in the moment. I see them and send them. So yeah, ew. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
Ew, this week.
Do you know what I have noticed? I think since I was kind of immersed in this space previously, which is obviously where the desires come from to be more active in the space. But I must admit, since going full on into it, and obviously my feeds now on those channels, it's just all this.
Yeah.
I do find myself in like almost a permanent state of rage, like 24/7. And added to then obviously people tag me and stuff, DM me links to posts. And then there's you and our conversation. I'm like every day, and then I'm like, is that what I'm doing to people when I share stuff? I'm like, here, my feelings are hurt. Let me hurt all of yours by telling you all about it.
It's like literally my entire because I'm obviously in charge of Twitter for this. My entire Twitter feed is all like bad stuff, more bad stuff, more bad stuff. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, because things I like stuff and then I'll save videos. So whether it's stuff that I want to stitch or create videos about, or whether there's other people's videos that I want to save, because it boosts their content. And so obviously the algorithm is just like, oh, you like this stuff? Here, let me serve you more.
It's like,
especially the really bad stuff. So I'm getting a lot of like Christian fundamentalist videos. And up until this point, they've always had like a stitch incoming. So like I'll watch a video and go, oh, this is objectively awful. And then a woman will pop up and go, this is objectively awful. I'm like, okay, I'm on the right side of TikTok. But now on this one, I'm not.
Getting the raw data.
I'm watching videos waiting for someone's face to pop up and say how awful it is. And I'm like, oh no, this is the original video. I'm like, okay. Yes, it's horrific out there. But anyway, welcome to the we've got 4 people. Welcome to the 4 people watching us today. We're so pleased you're here. Hello. Let me put the little banner up. Cool. So if you're new here, this is a weekly roundup of the week in misogyny. So Michelle and I, over the last few months, have sent each other in the DMs like almost daily examples of just awful posts, comments, videos, news headlines, whatever it might be. And then we just get into a bit of a to and fro about how awful they are. And sometimes we'll create content about them. Sometimes we'll just commiserate amongst ourselves. And then we decided, why don't we just chat about it publicly and, sort of upset other people with our finds who probably could have spent their entire lives not knowing they existed.
sharing the joy. I don't think it's quite
whatever the opposite
joy.
of that is. Yes. Sharing the horror. Yeah. And we find it, it's quite cathartic. We'll, take the piss out of them where appropriate. Sometimes it's a bit more serious. But yes, we're just calling them out for the absolute nonsense and shit show that they are. So if that's your vibe, stick around.
And we crown a Cretin of the week if we remember, and we rate them out of 5 in terms of how much of a Cretin they are.
Yeah. So if you're watching, each example we try and give a rating out of 5, and then at the end we'll crown one Cretin of the week. But we've not been very good at sticking to it. So if we move on and we haven't rated, please let us know in the comments.
We need supervision, clearly.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, because we get so like up in arms about it all, and then our system just completely falls apart. Yes, but we're going to try and stay on it this week. And we only have 25 minutes. We've got a lot to get through, so let's start. Which is our first one?
I don't know what have you got in order?
So no particular, but let's start with the one that we both brought, because we've got we have the same one, which is this fine specimen of a human being.
Yeah, and all of that was
the antithesis of what a woman should be as the Bible speaks to women.
Oh no, not that one.
He is a cretin. 10.
I've lost it.
Death, and that's a public death. It's a public sentence, publicly carried out. Then the citizens of these United States of America, you know what they would do? Hashtag Me Too would end real fast. How do you false accusing? Playing the victim when you're actually not? Like, you know how to end that real fast? All you have to do is publicly execute a few women who have lied.
Yeah, no, we don't like him.
No. And I shared another of his videos in my post this week, where he talks about the women shouldn't be able to vote and there should be a household vote. And, you know, people have very strong feelings about that video.
Yeah.
And this one is just so much worse. I mean, I've since gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Oh, no.
With this guy's content. So he's the founder of the Right Response Ministries, which is a conservative Christian church. And he says that he's on this redemption red pill. He's taken the redemption red pill and has seen the light. And most of his content is about, you know, women and modesty and all this kind of stuff. He's just a horrendous human being. But he's got, you know, I think it's like 114,000 subscribers to YouTube and about 27,000 on Twitter. Those are the only two he's on, because I imagine his content gets banned on the others. Yeah. But he, more recently referred to women. He made some comment about like a ring through a pig's nose. Nice. That's how we should be leading women.
Okay.
But yes, so yeah, what are your thoughts on, you know, the conversation being around putting to death women who falsely accuse, which, by the way, there's nothing in his talk about the people that actually commit rape.
No.
Just the women. The very, very tiny number of women.
I think the horror in this is I found this dude through Margaret Atwood, the writer of The Handmaid's Tale, writing about it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, if she thinks it's bad, it's got to be bad. And it's like, literally, I don't think he's taken any pills, red or green or blue or otherwise. I think he's literally read The Handmaid's Tale and thought, oh, this is a good idea, and that's what he's trying to implement. He actually looks like one of the commanders in it, which makes it even creepier. But it's like, what's gone wrong in this man's life that he has these views? And it's the algorithms, it's the angry people attracting angry people.
Yeah. And I think it's, you know, it's fueled from a hatred of women. They hate women. They don't see women as human. They don't see women as equal.
And they're
not
hiding.
No. They're hiding behind their little book. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's in a lot of more structured religions that's not necessarily very female friendly, depending on which brand of the religion. You know, Christianity is very, very broad. There's definitely some factions of it that follow some of the less progressive parts of the Bible, but I think particularly in the US, these kind of extreme conservative churches are just popping up and increasing in popularity, because, you know, there's I've seen a few news articles and reports recently about how young men are suddenly flocking to religion in numbers they've never have done before.
Power, control.
And of course, if your religion is giving you is basically teaching you that you are the important one, and that women should step in line and should do what you say, and that you don't need to change, it's women that needs to change. I mean, I can see how that'd be very appealing to young men that are lonely, lost, and don't know how to be good human beings. And on the flip side, women are leaving the churches in their droves. Yes.
One of my favourite Instagram accounts is Happy Whole Way, and it's all about deprogramming from religious conditioning. So I'm like, everything. I love this. I love it. But yeah,
It must be so in line with
is.
the Good Girl. Yeah, there's just so much stuff in there, isn't it? Good Girl
Yep.
Deprogramming.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I like this. I like this one. So I do enjoy their content.
Yeah. Oh, should we move on to some
Oh,
news
we
articles?
haven't
Oh,
rated him.
well done.
I know.
I mean, he's a 5. He is
He's
a 5
awful.
out of 5.
He's dangerous, scary, dangerous. We can't let these people be in charge anywhere.
No.
5.
Yeah,
Agree.
I suspect we're going to get a few 5 out of 5s today, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one was 5. And news headlines. Tell us what you think about these, Michelle.
So this all happened in fairly rapid succession, is the word. So first of all, we have the Daily Mail doing a story about certain perpetrators in the Giselle Pellicoat trial, and they wrote, rapist who abused unconscious Giselle Pellicoat got his partner to drop him off and wait in the car while he engaged in sordid sex. So it's how the media is describing this as it's not sex. It's rape. So
yeah.
And then we've got the next one. So the BBC calling man charged in dog walker murder case. So reducing an entire female woman to the last thing she did. It's like, really? Yeah. She didn't have a name. She didn't have, other identities, but just a dog walker. So like, yuck. And then the Daily Beast, a newspaper, is basically saying, yeah, she might be a good president, but she dresses so bad. It's like, oh, for crying out loud. What? Who is writing this stuff? And we know it's for clickbait, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, things are only popular because people make them popular.
Yeah.
So the media serves up what people want to, whether they're deliberately trying to outrage people or not. They write things for their audience, and this is what, just the fact that this is a whole article about how she dresses, a headline aside, it's, you just can't, you can't exist as a woman without somebody wanting to talk about what you look like and what you're wearing.
No. It's like, yeah. Does Trump get the same? No, of course he doesn't.
No. I mean, people that don't like him obviously talk about the fact that he is a bit orange.
Well,
but outside, and he's got weird little hands. But outside of that, they don't. The scrutiny around what he wears and his clothes and where they're from is all of that is just purely for women. Angela Rayner has it. It's just purely for women in the public eye. We want to talk about their clothes and how they're dressed and
what they look like, what size they are.
Yeah, and they'll say, we'll talk about them being poorly dressed, but then if they spend money on expensive clothes that fit better, how dare they spend that money? Yeah, it's never ending. It's impossible standards. But we see this, and coming back to the BBC one, we see this all the time in the way that we dehumanize victims in this way by referring to them as someone's wife, someone's daughter, or just the job.
Yeah.
The job that they had. There was a woman, it's a horrific story, a woman killed recently who was attacked and raped. I don't really want to go into it too much. I'm worried about getting banned. But she was asleep / unconscious after a night out on a bench.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I won't say any more than that. But the way they've talked about her and referred to her as, sort of the unconscious woman and party girl, and just haven't used her name. It's just horrific because, again, she's not the perfect victim because she went out and she had a few drinks, and fell asleep on a bench. But yes, she wasn't. He didn't kill a dog walker. He killed a woman. Murdered a woman. And the Giselle Pettit. I mean, the reporting on that has just been so gross. And the way they've talked about the perpetrators.
Did you see the Guardian article? So there's a Guardian article that kind of talks through loads of the perps, and they all get like almost like, this one had a bad childhood, this one was sexually abused as a child, this one grew up on the streets, this one grew up in care. It's like, why do we have to give them like a sorry, Oliver Twist-esque backstory?
Yeah,
it's like they actually chose, they did this.
Yep.
And you can't, it's like blaming their own mothers, you know what I mean? It's like,
well, they love to do that too, don't they? But anything to make them less culpable.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get why they do it. I get why people want to find an explanation. They don't want the explanation to be, these are just normal people and this is what normal people do. They need to be able to other them, say, well, it's because of abuse. So if you haven't suffered abuse, then you're safe. It's like we need to create almost like a separate category for these people so they don't touch us and our lives.
Yeah.
So, but yes, the excuse of the childhoods and everything else. These are grown men. If they had an issue with their childhood, go to fucking therapy. You mean you don't get to just, if you're a fully grown adult, there comes a point where you don't get to blame your shitty behaviour on your upbringing, because therapy is out there and it is
available.
Your job.
Yeah. And France.
Yeah. It's your job to fix it. So so
the media.
It's just the media today.
Yeah,
the cretinous bunch that they are, and the way they talk about women and men.
It's fodder.
Yeah,
it's like almost cannon fodder levels of like just complete disregard.
Yeah, and they've used that sordid sex thing. They've used yeah, I mean, I saw one article that talked about the guy thought she was dead, and that was his excuse.
It's like, because that's better.
I didn't know it was rape because I thought she was dead. And you go, that's It's like, in his mind, that was. I mean, that's pretty weird and twisted. So, what's your rating? What's your rating of this one?
I would be struggling to give it anything but a 5.
Yeah, I think I think they're all going to be 5s today.
Yeah, I'm going to struggle with. Actually, I know. Yeah, I think we're still going to have to blame Mr. Webben as Cretin of the Week, personally, but we'll see.
Yeah. So the next one. So this is a clip of Tucker Carlson from who was in. So his job was warming up Trump rally this week.
He's a fluffer.
Yeah. So the whole video itself is kind of long. So just to give you the kind of the premise. In his talk, he referred to Trump as daddy, and the American people as naughty children. Obviously not Trump supporters, everyone else. And that it would at some point be Trump's job to discipline his naughty children. The whole premise of it is just really gross. But then that's the premise, just so you understand the context. And then this is what he had to say about it.
You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl, and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now. And no, it's not going to hurt me more than it hurts you. No, it's not. I'm not going to lie. This is going to hurt you a lot more than it hurts me. And you earned this. You're getting a vigorous spanking because you've been a bad girl. And it has to be this way. It has to be this way because it's true. And you're only going to get better when you take responsibility for what you did. It's not said in the spirit of hate. It's not said in the spirit of vengeance or bigotry. Far from it. It's said in the spirit of justice, which is the purest and best thing there is. And without it, things fall apart.
False accuser is now put to death.
Somebody needs to check his hard drive, is what all I'm saying.
Jesus Christ. I mean, this is, you know, this like a few people have commented on the whole pastor video being like, well, you know, it's got nothing to do with Trump, it's got nothing to do with his campaign, and these are just outliers and stuff. This was at a Trump rally, and this is the man that Trump thought, yes, he's going to get the crowd going. And the cheering from the crowd all the way through. Like I said, I've just sort
It's like women in the crowd as well, isn't it? You can hear the female voices. It's like,
yeah,
you want to be spanked by Daddy Trump? Is that it? Is this like
all of it? Just gives me the creeps. The whole thing makes me feel so uncomfortable. The fact that he goes immediately to a she. This is not, you know, this isn't, you know, you've been a bad girl. I think the way he talks about it, the way he's smirking when he says it, the creepiest fuck language that he's using, says so much about how he views women and girls.
Seriously, he doesn't have any children.
Oh, Jesus. I think he does.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just the worst. It's just the worst. But I think it's the fact that he said all of this out in public, knowing it was going to be televised and shared everywhere. The fact that everyone was cheering and clapping, and I get that these rallies are all like supposed to fire people up, but it just feels so weird.
She also talks about
and
like, oh,
they are learning
a little bit of BDSM in the middle of your Trump rallies. That's kind of what you needed, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just all of it's just horrible. There's nothing nice to say about this.
She also,
except he's telling on himself. Like I say, someone should check his hard drive.
Yeah.
She also
worrying.
She also raises.
Yeah. So I'm going to give him a 4.
Okay.
And that's just in context of everything else that we're talking about today.
Yeah, but it's worrying. It's worrying.
So
so much. It's almost kind of trying to figure out why those women are screaming, like with excitement and stuff. And it's like, do they hate themselves so much that they think they deserve spanking, or they want to be put in their place, or like what's going on?
So I think
men are also learning to.
This is the thing. I think most of the people there are thinking that all of this applies to somebody else.
And so for those men to them who do seek to
spank the naughty, own the libs type people.
It's the liberals, it's the liberals that they're talking about. You know, the ones that are causing trouble, that are going against God, and you know all the other just
and so the goalposts
fucking nonsense that they come out with.
Which is,
and I feel like to the rest of the world, in the majority, we look at this and go, holy fuck, guys,
this is batshit.
But the fact that they're so close in the polls in the US at the moment, that you know half the population, it's split pretty much down the middle. No one's calling it. No one knows what's going to happen.
And so the goalposts constantly moving, which is why it's so important.
That seems totally batshit to me. That half, you know, because it's a big country, it's a lot of people,
and be able to deal with it while they're also.
And you know, maybe that's just because I'm I'm liberal. And I'm left wing, and I don't know, but it just seems quite like this stuff is. I remember when the US used to feel like leaders of the world. I know that sounds an awful thing to say, and I hope if anyone's sort of American and they're listening,
deal with it.
There was a point in my life where America really led the way in in innovation and freedoms, and I look at them now and I think,
to be able to spot behaviour.
And it's scary for the rest of us because it is trickling through. Whoever gets in, it's going to have an impact on us. You know, we already know there's documented reports of far right-wing conservative groups ploughing millions into far-right conservative groups in the UK and in other European countries to basically spread the word. And I think that's only going to get worse if Trump gets in. But all of this, all of the rhetoric, like we can sit here and kind of laugh at this guy and say that he's creepy and is weird, but there's so much of this, and young people, especially young men, are being radicalized by this kind of rhetoric.
Yeah,
it's terrifying.
Awful.
Yeah, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. What's next?
Because abusers are not walking around with
What
a
else have we got? I can't remember.
I know, I feel like we're going to have
I'm
to go.
slightly traumatised.
Yeah,
might
might
go
have to go and have a glass of wine at lunchtime.
Too.
Start knocking it back early.
I'm off to meet a feminist scholar at lunchtime, so yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, this is good prep then.
I know, isn't it? We're like, well,
Yeah.
this has been a bit of a shit show
Anyway.
last. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is also why the Giselle Pelican.
Yeah, I've seen this one doing the rounds a little bit this week.
Yeah. So I think it's the
Saying, I'm an
it's the
abuser,
women
I am.
not giving any
And in fact,
women
most of the
any
time,
kind of
when
grace.
people find out about
thing.
the behaviour, everyone
Yeah.
around them
And it's
is
almost
shouting.
that kind of, oh, women need to have babies, but
Which is also why the Giselle
but
Pelican
don't-
case is so
Don't
important.
inconvenience anyone else
Because
to do
not only
it.
her husband,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
majority of the
like
men that were
it
involved,
smacks of the whole like.
everyday men, and the people
Yeah.
around
Anyway,
them.
let's just say
are just
women,
shocked.
whether they have children or not have children, whether they work or they don't work, or whether they
Are
exist
just
or they
shocked.
don't, it's almost a case of we can't win.
Or you
And
can't
it's-
win. Yeah. And the way
And she
that
took the
we,
stand this week.
and I see so much rhetoric around,
And she took the stand
how this
week
impacts
for the second
businesses,
time.
and businesses are basically paying for somebody not to work. And it's like, well yes and no, because it's only businesses over a certain size that need to provide maternity pay. And even then,
Took the stand this week
you know,
for the
it's
second
the
time.
maternity pay is statutory, and they get a proportion of it back. And I think this whole kind of like poor businesses, poor companies,
Yeah.
when it comes to women having children, it's just, is that where we should be putting our compassion?
No.
Big
I want to
you know,
read
big
you some of
businesses.
this statement
And like I said,
that she
that, you know,
made
under
when
a
she was
certain
on the
size, they're not required to provide any kind of maternity provision.
stand.
So, you know, I've seen people say small businesses have gone under because of this stuff. They haven't gone under. Businesses are not going under or struggling because one person is off on maternity leave and is earning £70 a week on statutory maternity pay. We're not doing this. Yeah.
No.
And at the same time, you know, everyone's sort of, there's an outcry about the drop in birth rates. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
Have you seen how much nurseries are? Quite frankly, it literally we can't afford to have babies. That's
About
the
not
sort
just
of
the physical
the long and short of
the
it.
emotional
We cannot
abuse that she
afford it.
you can't afford to have babies and not work.
betrayal
If
that
you have
she
babies and
felt.
work, this is the kind of shit that you're going to deal with. And you're expected to work like you don't have children.
Yeah.
And of
You are
course, you know,
carrying-
working women also carrying 90% of the unpaid labour and are doing on average 4 hours
You
extra
are carrying
every
a
single
10,000
day of
Yeah.
unpaid labour than they
Yeah.
are their male counterparts and their partners who are also
working.
working full time. So I think women are just going, you know what? No thanks. No, thank you. Like, I'd
No.
like to have kids, but I don't want to be dealing with
like
this
almost
shit for
case
the
of-
next 18 years.
What's in it for me? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
I am
So we're
trying to
expected to
understand how
sacrifice
this man
ourselves, our
was
mind, our
perfect
sanity,
to me.
our labour, everything.
Yep. Future earning potential, any kind
I'm
of
trying
sense of self identity,
Yeah.
professional respect at work. Yeah, you're not going to get
I'm
any of
trying
that.
to
We want you to have
understand
babies,
how
but
this
we're just
man,
going to,
who
you
to
know,
me
unless you
was
do it
perfect,
perfectly
could have
in the
done
way that we
this.
want you to,
How could he have
we're going
betrayed
to
me at
criticise
this
you.
point?
Yeah.
How could you let these strangers
Yeah.
into my bedroom?
I'm also
Karen-
pretty sure that's illegal as well.
Yes. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I think they probably did get some money in the end. Karen Roberts,
Damn
you see
straight.
what she's written. We're simply
She
not set
talks
up to
about
cope with
how-
procreation. The patriarchal system still believes women are solely responsible for creating the next generation. And
Which is fine if men want to go and earn the money so we don't have to work.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
She
I think
talks about
this
how
idea
her
of, you
husband
know,
would
that was
often cook
fine
meals for her
when one income
and
could
bring her
sustain a
ice
household,
for dinner.
yeah,
but
But
one
it's-
income can't sustain
I used to
a
say to
household.
him,
And
"You're lucky
women
my
have minds and goals and passions and creativity and imagination, and they want to be able to use that in their careers the same way men do.
I know. And,
So-
and then Willow's like, and those of us who don't want children are also criticised.
Oh
endlessly.
yeah, oh
It's
yeah,
like,
they
oh.
love to call
It's like,
women selfish.
what is the even point of women who don't
Yeah.
have children? It's like,
Yeah, what are you contributing to society?
it's like, well, they're doing the maternity covers.
She goes on to document.
They're not going off on maternity leave.
Ugh, honestly,
Yeah,
it's exhausting.
Yeah,
She
and
goes on to
I just think women are what I'm loving so much though is seeing women, instead of trying to fight in the system, just stepping outside of it and going, do you know what, I'm taking myself out. I'm out. I'm just not going to engage. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to live my life. And then, of course, all the people show up and want to throw all of this projection at them about how they're going to die alone and they're not, they're not fulfilled, they're not contributing to society. And it's like, actually, we kind of are.
We look at the sort of the death rate statistics. Single women live longer than married women. Single men live less long than married men. It's like,
yeah. And also, did you know that more women die as a result of pregnancy than soldiers die in active duty?
Yeah.
Like, it's literally one of the most dangerous things a woman can do. So, let's not pressure women to have them if they're not sure, and let's not berate women for daring to choose to procreate when we're telling them constantly that's supposed to be their life's mission.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this one, ugh.
Yeah,
what are we giving it?
Then sort of the weight of judgment, internal misogyny. I'm going to give it a 4 because I want what's happening in America to win at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, so we're almost out of time. There's one, I'm actually going to skip that other video.
The signs were there.
Yeah. So what's our overall? Who's our overall winner?
What we're asking women to do,
of Cretin of the week? I think it's got to be between
to put the puzzle pieces together.
The media,
and
Joel.
Asking women to do.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I think the media is just going to keep going. I know there are campaigns to
put the puzzle
look at
pieces
how
together.
Victims are talked about. I know that people are doing this work.
When somebody else is working so hard.
I'm gonna say, Joel, but please don't go and watch his videos because then you get money for that. But yes, that's the painful bit.
All right. So Joel Wibben, he is our Cretin of the week.
Yeah.
Just to round things off, though, I did see this today.
I'm going to leave you with,
and I enjoyed it. And I just thought it'd be a good little thing to finish on. Let's see if I'm actually putting the right video up on the stage now.
If there were one word that women should avoid, it's the antithesis of what a woman should be as the Bible speaks to women, the word would be this: loud.
And I was like, oh, if ever I question whether I've called my business the right thing. Thank you very much, Joel. You've just absolutely confirmed that loud is exactly what women should be. He was like, is this one word loud? And I went, oh, I'm thinking that.
I was reading an article about 2 women walking down the street in Afghanistan and said something, one of them laughed, and then they got berated for being heard in public. So you literally, we need more loud women, so thank you for what you do.
Everywhere. And you too. But yes, that just really reinforced, like, oh, it's warmed my heart to know that even just the name of my business is going to piss off conservative Christian men who are misogynists a bit.
Yeah. I've stopped calling them conservative Christians. I stopped calling them Christo-fascists. But yeah, so
yes, Christopher. Yeah, that's exactly what they are. And like, because I do feel like just calling them Christians are just, they're not. And, so many in the video I shared this week, so many people commented and was like, that's not what Christianity. And I think
Jesus
it's insulting.
Would be devastated. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it's insulting to other Christians. So yeah, we're not gonna call them that anymore.
No.
Which is why it's so important that
okay, so we did good. We stuck to our scoring system. We crowned Cretin of the week, and we're good. And it's only 6 minutes past 11.
Okay.
So fucking nailed it.
High five.
Borat one. We're getting better. Yes. And of course, if anyone has, obviously we've got some comments. Let's just double check, make sure there's nothing that we missed.
And the people around them are just as shocked. This week for the second time.
Yeah, no, I think we're good. I think we answered them all. So yeah, we're back every week. So we'll be back next Friday. I feel like they're getting worse.
Honestly, it's before the election. I think things will get worse.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the more outrageous that the Trump campaign can be, the more newspapers and the more it's talked. It's like all they want is attention. Obviously, we are giving them that attention, but it'll get worse in the next. And hopefully things will calm down.
Yeah. I think
she said like things will calm down. I was like, I'm not saying this, but I'm not entirely believing it.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends who gets in. I think. One piece of good news that I do recommend going and have a look at. So the state of Georgia has just recently overturned the 6-week abortion ban. And I urge anyone to go and read or read an article, find the article that talks about what the judge says in his statement about reversing the ban. It is chef's kiss, perfect. He calls them out, he says it like it is. He calls out the motivations behind the legal team who obviously pushed for this ban in the first place. Like, he just leaves no crumbs whatsoever. So if you want a little bit of good news today, go and read that, and it will perk you right up and restore your faith in humanity and me. So I've listened to you. So join us next week. I think we're probably going to end up doing, not next week but the week after, maybe like an election special.
It's gonna watch some videos about Trump giving 7 prizes. That was hilarious. That was like the memes that have come off that. Just like,
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that everywhere. So yeah, join us next week. We're here every Friday 10:30. If you see any examples of misogyny that you'd like to submit for consideration for Cretin of the Week, then just DM either me or Michelle. And I hope we haven't left you feeling too fuming today, and has provided a good, healthy outlet.
Yes.
So yeah, have a great weekend, everyone.
Yeah, lots of love.
And we'll see you next week.